Hello and welcome to the Nature of God in Nature. We have a very special program planned for you today. We're going to talk about the nature of God in Africa. There is a lot of very incredible and diverse animals, minerals, plants, trees, all sorts of interesting and wild nature here to talk about today. So why don't we get going right away, jump in my trusty rental car. Remember, we have to drive on the left. Let's go see what we can learn about Africa. Right now, we are currently standing in the Great Rift Valley. Now, if you're wondering what is a rift valley, I'm going to tell you. A rift valley is an area where the earth has fallen down. The Great Depression, you would say. This is the Great Rift Valley because it's the largest one, going over 3,000 miles, starting here on the border of South Africa and Mozambique, extending all the way up through Eastern Africa and up to Ethiopia. Here in Africa, there is a tree which is standing right behind me that's called a baobab. It is the largest tree, the base, in the world. We've talked about the sequoia before, and that is a taller tree, but as far as the base, this tree here is the widest. They can be almost 100 feet in circumference. That's pretty big. Actually, some even more than 100 feet. Now, this tree is very interesting because it has all sorts of different fruits. They do all sorts of different things with the leaves. It's a very versatile tree here, and it's seen throughout the countryside. So here we are looking at the baobab tree. This particular baobab that we're looking at today is over 1,600 years old. It's quite huge. We're not allowed to get up to it, but with this angle you should be able to see how wide it is. Just the bottom, it's just super, super wide. It's an amazingly huge tree. We are here in northern Zimbabwe, along the edge of the mighty Zambezi River. This is one of the major world rivers, along with the Nile, the Amazon. This is the site where the water falls into the Zambezi Gorge, the largest waterfall in the world. We're going to go there next.
Victoria Falls is the largest waterfall in the world and sits on the border between Zimbabwe and Namibia.
We are here at Zambezi River, Victoria Falls. This is amazing. This waterfall is over a mile wide. It goes half a mile that way, half a mile that way. It's huge. There's over 5 million cubic feet of water, gallons, coming down this every single minute. This is huge.
The waterfalls empty into the Zambezi Gorge, which separates Zimbabwe and Namibia. The gorge is spanned by the famous Zambezi Bridge, famous for its adrenaline sports, such as the bungee jump.
Here in Victoria Falls, we're actually surrounded in every direction by the Kalahari Desert. But right here at Victoria Falls, it is a very wet rainforest. You can see everything here year-round is wet. There's a baboon sneaking up on me here. Let's see if we can see him. No, he's in there somewhere. He was sneaking up on me. As I was saying though, watch out if a baboon jumps out on me. There he goes right there. Anyways, as I was saying, there is a very interesting ecosystem right here just because of the rainforest that is surrounding the Victoria Falls area. And that's something neat that just exists right in this one area. Wild baboons. While we're on the subject of baboons, which here are just as common as squirrels back home, as well as elephants. They're just everywhere also. There is an interesting thing about baboons that I did want to mention to you. Outside of this area around Victoria Falls, they're also out in the desert in Kalahari. They have an arrangement, you can say, with the what are they called? The impalas, which is a type of antelope. And they each have a particular sense that they're good at. One is good at smelling, one has good at sight. And the impala and the baboons actually help each other to warn each other when there's a lion around. So they're both always on the alert, and they warn each other with their vocal abilities about any danger lurking. And that's a baboon and an impala.
Africa is well known for its tremendous animal diversity. A peaceful drive through the African countryside is sure to bring you face to face with many incredible animals. One of the most common animals you will find, the impala. The warthog, the graceful giraffe, the tallest animal in the world at over 18 feet tall, the great hippopotamus, and as I mentioned before, our fun-loving friends, the baboons. The wildlife in Africa is by no means limited to just animals. Large and unique insects can also be found here, including this millipede that is almost 12 inches long. Another African favorite is the dung beetle. The dung beetle is a large beetle that takes elephant dung and forms it into a ball the size of a ping pong ball, then rolls it back home so that the female can lay eggs inside the ball, therefore providing food for the young when they are born. Another curious resident is a small, slow-moving lizard called the gecko. and of course, the zebra. One of the most incredible scenes in Africa is coming across a herd of 30 to 40 elephants, such as this one here. Each herd is led by the oldest female, the matriarch, which is very protective of each member of the herd. And of course, the lions, such as this one sneaking through the bush. Lions are unique among cats because they actually live in groups. A group of lions is called a pride. A visit to Africa is an encounter with abundant life. With over 10,000 species of life on this planet, God knows each one of us by name. We may not stand out in a crowd, and we may feel lonely at times, but God has promised us in a world with so much life that through grace, salvation can be yours. My name is Rich Aguilera, and I'm glad you could join us today on the Nature of God in Nature from Africa. I look forward to seeing you next time.